Mr. Ernest Worthing.
How are you, my dear Ernest? What brings you to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Huh. Eating as usual, I see, Algie. But why all this? Cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who is coming to tea?
Merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn.
How perfectly delightful. I have come up to town expressly to propose to Gwendolyn.
I thought you had come up for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic you are.
My dear fellow, I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. But speaking of women, do you know anyone of the name of Cecily?
Cecily? I don't know anyone of that name. What on earth do you mean by Cecily, Algie?
Very well then. Now, would you bring me that cigarette case Mr. Worthing left in the smoking room last time he died here?
Yes, sir.
Do you mean to say you have had my cigarette case all this time? I wish to goodness you had let me know!
Yes, but... Thank you. Now that I look at the inscription inside, it turns out the thing isn't yours after all. This cigarette case is a present from someone of the name of Cecily, and you just said you don't know anyone of that name. From little Cecily with her fondest love.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old lady she's too. Just give it back to me, Algie.
Yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? From little Cecily, with her fondest love, to her dear Uncle Jack. Besides, your name isn't Jack at all. It's Earnest.
It isn't Ernest. It's Jack.
You have always told me it was Earnest. I have introduced you to everyone as Earnest. You look as if your name was Earnest. You are the most earnest-looking person I ever saw in my life. It's on your cards. Here's one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, before the advent. I'll keep this as proof that your name is Ernest if ever you attempt to deny it to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest in town and Jack in the country, and the secret case was given to me in the country.
Yes, but that does not account for the fact that your little Aunt Cecily calls you her dear uncle. Tell me the whole thing. I might say I have always suspected you of being a confirmed and secret bunburyist. And I'm quite sure of it now.
Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by bunburyist?
I'll reveal to you the meaning of this incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce my cigarette case first.
Here it is. Now produce your explanation, and pray make it improbable.
Oh, it's perfectly ordinary. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me his real guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle from motives of respect, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism. In order to get up to town, I have always pretended to have a younger brother of the name of Earnest, who lives in Albany and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear Algie, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. I was quite right in saying you were a bunburyist. You are one of the most advanced bunburyists I know.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a very useful younger brother by the name of Earnest, in order that you may be able to come up to town as often as you like. I have invented an invaluable permanent invalid by the name of Bunbury, in order that I may be able to go down into the country whenever I choose.
No. I'm not a bunburyist at all. If Gwendolyn accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Although I think I'll kill him in any case. Cecily is looking too much interested in him.
Oh, that must be the ladies.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good morning, Algernon.
Good morning, Lady Bracknell.
I hope you are behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I'm always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You're quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I am not that. It would leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry if we are a little bit late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. And now, I have a cup of tea.
Certainly.
Gwendolyn, won't you come and sit here?
Thanks, Mom. Quite comfortable I am.
Thank you. I have quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar.
I am afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight, after all.
I hope not. That would put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great bore and, I need hardly say, a terrible disappointment to me. But the fact is, I have just received a telegram from my poor friend Bunbury. Is very ill again.
This is strange that Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, poor Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think that it's high time that this Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he's going to live or to die.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta.
Gwendolyn, you accompany me?
Certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else. And that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I am never wrong.
And I would like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary
I
absence.
would certainly advise you to do so.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met since I met you.
Yes, I am quite well aware of that. For me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. And my ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Earnest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. And ever since Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew I was destined to love him.
Darling, you really love me.
Passionately.
You don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
But you don't really mean to say you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest?
But your name is Earnest.
Well, yes. But supposing it was something else? Jack, for instance?
Jack? No, there is very little music in the name of Jack, if any at all indeed. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. No, I pity any woman who is married to a man called Jack.
Gwendolyn, I must get Christian at once.
What?
I mean, we must get married at once. There's no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing.
But surely, you know that I love you, and you let me to believe that you are not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but, you haven't quite proposed to me yet.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I think it would be an admirable occasion.
Gwendolyn,
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
you know what I have got to say to
Yes, but you don't say it.
you. Gwendolyn, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. How long have you been about it?
Mr. Worthing,
Mama,
rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It's most indecorous.
Mama, this is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing hasn't quite finished yet.
Finish what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged, I will certainly inform you of the fact. And now, I have a couple of questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing.
Mama.
Wait for me in the carriage.
Mama.
In the carriage, Gwendolyn. You may take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a real affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm pleased to hear it. How old are you?
29?
A perfect age to be married at. What's your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
That is satisfactory. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
Both, Mr. Worthing. To lose one parent may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both of them looks like carelessness. Who was your father?
Well, I really don't know. Actually, I was found.
Found?
Old Mr. Thomas Cardew found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time.
Where did this charitable old gentleman find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag? I must say, Mr. Worthing, that I feel somehow bewildered by what you have just told me.
May I ask you then what you would advise me to do? I need hardly say I will do anything to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire as many relations as possible and make a definite effort to try and produce, at any rate, one parent, either sex, before this is quite over.
Well, I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce the handbag at any moment. It is my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You can hardly imagine that I would dream of allowing my only daughter to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Morning. Stop playing that ghastly tune, Archie!
Oh, didn't it go off all right, old boy?
No, her mother is perfectly unbearable. You don't really mean to say that Gwendolyn is supposed to become like her mother in about 150 years.
All women become like their mothers. By the way, did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being earnest in town and Jack in the country?
Oh, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined girl. Before the end of the week, I shall get rid of my brother Ernest. I'll say he died in Paris by a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
Yes, but isn't that Cecily of yours a little bit too much interested in him?
No, that's all right. Cecily is not a silly, romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She's got a capital appetite, goes long walks, and pays absolutely no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cecily.
Oh, I take very good care you never do. She is excessively pretty, and she's only just 18.
Oh, did you tell Gwendolyn you have an excessively pretty ward who is only just 18?
Oh, my dear fellow, one doesn't blurt these things out to people. Cecily and Gwendolyn are perfectly certain to be extremely great friends. I bet anything you like that less than half an hour after they have met, they will be calling each other sister.
You know, it is nearly 7. We have a table at Willis for 7.
It is always nearly 7.
I'm hungry.
Oh, I never knew you when you weren't.
Mr. Earnest Worthing.
Mr. Earnest Worthing, B4 to Albany, W. Uncle Jack's brother?
You are my little cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
You are under some strange mistake. I am not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily, and you, I'm sure, are my Uncle Jack's brother, my wicked cousin Ernest.
I'm not really wicked at all, cousin Cecily.
If you are not, then you have certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. And I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. Well, that would be hypocrisy.
Of course. I have been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
In fact, now that you mention the subject, I have been very bad in my own small way.
Well, I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I am sure it must have been very pleasant.
It is much pleasanter being here with you.
Cecily! Cecily! Shall we go to a place more convenient?
Brilliant idea.
Oh, Mr. Worthing, this is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon.
Yes, I have returned sooner than I expected.
Oh, why?
Because of my brother.
More shameful debts and extravagance. Still living his life of pleasure.
No. Dead.
Your brother Earnest dead.
Yes, quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it. Was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
Well, as a man sows, so shall he reap.
Uncle Jack! Oh, I'm so pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you've got on? Do go change them.
Cecily.
Oh, what's the matter, Uncle Jack? Oh, do look happy. You look as if you had a toothache, and I've got such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who?
Your brother Ernest. He arrived about, half an hour ago?
What nonsense! I haven't got a brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he might have behaved to you in the past, he is still your brother, and you couldn't be so heartless to disown him. I'll tell him to come out, and you'll shake hands with him, won't you?
Well, after we've all been resigned to his laws, his sudden return seems to me particularly distressing.
I really don't understand who knows.
Brother!
Good heavens!
I have come down from town to tell you that I am very sorry for all the trouble I have given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think he's coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack! To be nice. There is some good in everyone. And Ernest has been just telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Banbury, whom he goes to visit so often. And surely there must be much good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain.
Oh, he has been talking about Banbury, has he?
Yes, he told me all about poor Mr. Banbury and his terrible state of health.
Banbury! Well, I won't have him talk to you about Banbury or about anything else. It is enough to drive on perfectly.
Of course! I admit, the faults were all on my side. But I must say, I find Brother Duck's coldness to be peculiarly painful. Especially since this is the first time I have come here.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never.
Well, this is the last time I shall ever do it. Merryman!
You're so nice.
Take my bag to my room. And you, brother, come with me.
You are needed in the kitchen, Miss Preston.
I hope, Cecily, I shall not offend you if I say quite frankly and openly that you are to me the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. And if you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Oh, so you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh no. You see, it is simply a very young girl's record on their own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. Now I have reached, oh yes, absolute perfection. You can go on. I'm quite ready for more. Oh, don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Cecily, I have always loved you. Wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
Hopelessly? Well, I don't think that you should tell me that you love me hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily. I love you, Cecily. Will you marry me?
You silly boy. Of course, we've been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months?
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very, very wicked and bad, I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Oh, darling. But when was our engagement actually settled?
On 14th of February last. And this is the box in which I keep all your dear letters.
My letters? But, my dear Cecily, I never wrote you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well that I was forced to write the letters for you. And I wrote always 3 times a week and sometimes oftener.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
Oh, you dear romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Yes, with a little help from others.
I'm so glad. Besides, of course, there's the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You must not laugh at me, darling, but it has been a girlish dream of mine, always, to love someone whose the name was Earnest. And there is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. And, well, I pity any poor married woman whose husband isn't called Earnest.
But, my dear Cecily, you don't really mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name.
But what name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name Algernon.
My dear, sweet, loving little darling, I really don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, if my name was Algie, couldn't you love me?
Well, I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
I must go see a priest at once. On a most important christening.
Pardon me?
I mean, on a most important business. I shan't be away for more than half an hour.
Miss Fairfax.
Well, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew.
Something tells me we're going to be great friends, and my first impressions of people are never wrong.
Oh, how nice of you to like me so much after we have known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray sit down.
You're here on a short visit, I suppose.
No, I live here.
Really? Your mother, then, resides here also?
No, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
Yes, my dear guardian has the hardest task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
A Mr. Worthing's ward.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How very secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn, but did you say Ernest?
Yes.
But it is not Mr. Earnest Worthing who is my guardian. It's his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
Well, they have not been on very good terms for a long time.
Huh. That accounts for it. Now that I think of it, I have never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. Of course, you are quite sure it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Dearest Gwendolyn, there is no reason why I should keep secret of this to you. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It is very strange, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you care to verify the incident, pray do so. I am so sorry, dear Cecily, if this is any disappointment to you, but I believe I have the prior claim.
But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
Shall I lay a tea as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Quite a well-kept garden, this is, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here as people are in London.
Personally, the country always bores me to death.
Can I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Yes, thank you.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Hand this to Miss Fairfax.
Ever since I met you, I felt that you were false and deceitful, and my first impressions of people are never wrong.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I'm trespassing on valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character in the neighborhood.
Ernest, my own Ernest.
Darling!
A moment. May I ask you if you're engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Of course not! What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Oh, thank you, you may.
I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. Jack Worthing.
I beg your pardon?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack! Oh,
Here is Ernest.
My own love.
A moment. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
Good heavens. Gwendolyn.
Yes, to God heavens, Gwendolyn! I mean to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What would have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
I felt there was some error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief! Oh! Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really Jack?
I could deny it if I liked, but my name certainly is Jack. It has been Jack for years.
Gross deception has been practiced on both of us!
Poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, will you not?
There is just one question I would be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, we are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it is a matter of some importance to us to know where he is at the present.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, I will tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I never had a brother in my life, and I have not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future.
No brother at all?
No,
Had you never a brother of any kind?
no, not even of any kind.
I am afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
Well, it seems that now I have finally found the vital importance of being earnest.